Welcome to the deep dive. We take your sources, look through them, and pull out the most interesting bits of knowledge or insight.
Yeah, and today we're doing something a little different. Bit darker, maybe.
Okay, definitely. We're diving into, well, the chilling reality of personal encounters with the unexplained, stuff that just doesn't make sense.
Right. We've got a collection of true stories, genuinely terrifying accounts from people who faced things that really defy logic.
We're talking restless spirits, maybe, old houses, entities that seem to follow people.
Exactly. But it's not just about telling ghost stories to scare you. We want to unpack what these experiences, these really personal moments, tell us.
About what? Like, how we perceive things.
Yeah, but perception, belief, maybe the edges of what we think is, the real world.
It's fascinating how these things often happen to people who start out skeptical.
Totally. They're forced to confront possibilities they'd never even considered. It pushes them, to try and find some kind of understanding when there's no obvious explanation.
So we'll be looking for patterns, common threads.
Common threads, yes, but also the really unique stuff. How these things show up differently.
Okay, let's jump in. The first one. It's this rural farmhouse, right? Built way back, like the 1700s.
Yeah, and it used to be an inn. The narrator actually heard about its history from the folks who lived there before, the Blakes.
The Blakes mentioned a specific room.
A sick room. Apparently used for guests who were ill, even wounded soldiers back in the day. And the Blake kids, they said they heard voices, saw things there themselves when they were young.
Okay, creepy start, but then it gets weirder.
Definitely. The narrator's great aunt comes to visit, and she doesn't speak much English.
Right, and she stays in that guest room, the old sick room.
Exactly. And she sees a woman, describes her wearing a long nightgown, a cap, and she hears her calling out a name, Abigail.
And nobody else saw this woman?
No, the great aunt was seeing something others weren't. And here's the kicker.
Go on.
Later, the narrator's parents find two old gravestones out in their own woods. Yes. James and Abigail Hall. Turns out they were original owners of the house.
Abigail, the name the great aunt heard.
Wow.
Oh.
So it makes you think, right? The Blakes, the previous owners, they actually believed saying the name Abigail all the time in the house had stirred something up, awakened the spirits maybe.
So just saying the name could trigger it. Is that like residual energy, or is it Abigail actually responding?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It could be residual, like an energy imprint replaying because of the name, the strong history. Or maybe saying the name does act like a call. It's hard to say for sure. The line gets blurry.
And it didn't stop with the great aunt, did it?
No. The narrator's own kid, a toddler, starts seeing a monster. Always in this one specific corner of the living room that was always weirdly cold.
And the kids started having nightmares.
Yeah. And it wasn't just the toddler, friends visiting, who didn't know about the monster thing. They independently felt a presence right in that same cold spot.
Chilling. But the narrator's mom, she lived through all this, but still says she's never seen a ghost.
Right. To this day. And the narrator wonders, is it because she chooses not to believe? Does that offer some kind of protection?
Or maybe she just doesn't perceive it, rationalizes it away.
That's possible too. Belief, or the lack of it, definitely seems to play a role in how people experience these things, or at least how they interpret them.
Okay, let's move to another old house. This one's newer, relatively speaking, built 1911.
But it stood empty for a decade before the current owners moved in, so, time for things to settle or fester.
During the renovations, they found things in the walls. Old jewelry, a silver hat brush, even handmade marbles, little bits of the past.
Yeah, echoes of who lived there before.
But the really scary bit happened one winter night. Heavy wooden balcony doors upstairs.
The kind that lock into the floor, top and bottom. Super heavy, hard to open.
Those exact ones. They found them wide open, making the whole upstairs freezing cold.
Wide open, even though they're hard to move manually.
Exactly. And at the same time, downstairs, these small wooden mini windows in the living room, they lock too. Also found open. And they were definitely locked before.
And no sign of anyone breaking in.
Not at all. No forced entry, no intruders, just open.
Wow. Okay, that feels different. When heavy, locked things are manipulated like that, that often points towards something more than just residual energy.
Like what? Poltergeist activity?
Could be. Something with kinetic energy, something intelligent enough to, unlock and open multiple things. The sheer force needed for those balcony doors. That's significant.
So what's the theory there? Is it like a conscious ghost doing it? Or just random energy bursts.
Well, sometimes poltergeist stuff is linked to, like unconscious energy from someone living there, especially teenagers under stress.
Yeah.
But this sounds deliberate, unlocking different things upstairs and downstairs. It leans more towards an intelligent presence, maybe trying to make itself known or just cause trouble.
Trouble seems like an understatement for the next one. This account, it's from a brother's apartment, and it gets physical. The narrator first hears this huge bang, like a bowling ball dropped on the roof, shook the whole building. This was late, like 1:30 a.m.
Did anyone else hear it?
Apparently not, which is weird in itself, but the main event involves the narrator's brother, Chris.
Okay.
He wakes up later, maybe 2:30, 3:00 a.m., and he's paralyzed. Can't move his arms or legs.
Oh, like sleep paralysis?
Maybe started that way. But then he hears this deep, evil laugh right over him. And at the same moment, the birds in his niece's room nearby just start going absolutely crazy.
Okay, that's not typical sleep paralysis.
Not at all. Chris feels like he gets smacked hard across the face. He finally manages to scream, jumps out of bed, and there's blood dripping down his face. He finds 6 deep cuts, 3 on his forehead, 3 on his chin, perfectly lined.
6, like claws.
Exactly what he thought, like something with 3 claws swiped down his face, and he still has the scars. Deep ones.
That's intense.
Yeah.
Physical assault by something unseen. That's extremely rare in these kinds of accounts. It suggests something pretty powerful and malevolent.
And get this, there's another witness. Sort of.
Oh, yeah.
At the exact same time Chris is screaming and getting cut, his nephew, Brad, in another room, sees a big black mass. He said it floated in his room, went up over his bed, and then straight out a high window.
Whoa. Okay, so the nephew saw something while Chris was being attacked.
Pretty much simultaneously. That corroboration, it makes it really hard to dismiss Chris's experience as just a nightmare or something internal.
Absolutely. The timing, the independent sighting of this black mass.
Yeah.
That adds a huge layer of credibility. It points to an external event, something impacting both of them.
Okay, deep breath. Let's go somewhere else. South Carolina, Catawba Indian Reservation, a house on like 55 acres of undeveloped woods.
Lots of history, lots of lore in an area like that, you'd imagine.
For sure. The narrator and her friend Marie start noticing things. They're taking photos on the back deck at night, capturing orbs.
Orbs, okay. Those can be controversial, dressed and whatnot, but sometimes.
Right. But they also felt changes. The temperature would suddenly drop. And they got this weird feeling like they weren't alone out there, like standing in a crowd, not just the two of them in the backyard.
That sense of presence is common. And Marie, the friend, she already believed she had a spirit attached to her.
Yeah, an 8-year-old boy she called HP. She thought he actually protected them from worse things coming from the woods.
Interesting dynamic. And there was a specific room in this house, too.
The back bedroom. Even with multiple windows, it always felt cold, dark, heavy. The narrator used this phrase, visually smelled bad.
Visually smelled bad. Wow. That's synesthesia, right? One sense triggering another. In these contexts, it often suggests a really oppressive, negative energy.
Yeah.
So strong it messes with your senses.
Makes sense. Because things definitely escalated.
How so?
You know, the more stereotypical stuff first. Loud, heavy footsteps when nobody else was home. Lights going on and off with no electrical cause. Things vanishing and then reappearing in totally bizarre places.
Classic haunting signs. Causing tension, I bet.
Yeah. And they sort of egged it on sometimes, asked for signs.
Risky move, maybe.
Oh, they got responses. Loud, clear knocking sounds from different walls. Apparently, it freaked out visitors so much some people just never came back.
I can believe it.
But then, the fear really ramped up. The narrator saw something at a bonfire outside.
An apparition.
Yeah, a tall man. Described him as having bronze skin, long dark hair, really dark, unsettling eyes. But the mouth.
What about the mouth?
It was red, like blood, all over his mouth and down his chin. As if he'd just, like, eaten something raw.
Oh, it's a gruesome.
He wasn't see-through or anything. Solid. Looks solid, terrifying, and just radiating hatred. She bolted back to the house, completely shaken.
That's incredibly vivid and disturbing. Was that the only sighting?
No. Around the same time, other people started seeing things. People who didn't know each other reporting similar stuff.
Like what?
A figure described as a, 7-foot-tall, burly lumberjack, always carrying an axe.
An axe? Where were they seeing him?
Sometimes in the woods or just at the edge. But also staring into these small, high windows on the house. Windows that were over 7 feet off the ground.
Impossible for a normal person to just look into from outside.
Exactly. And another friend who was actually living in a teepee on the property for a bit, she had to move inside the house because she kept hearing something big and heavy stalking around her teepee every night.
Okay, so multiple independent witnesses reporting large, intimidating figures connected to the woods and the house itself. That's significant weight.
And the activity inside didn't stop either. Doors again. Front door, back door, even a side door they hardly ever used found wide open, despite being locked from the inside.
Unlocking doors seems to be a theme.
Yeah. And kitchen cabinets starting to open and shut violently on their own. Then one time they slammed shut so hard the whole house shook, and a stack of plates just flew off the counter, smashed against the wall.
Whoa. Flying objects, loud noises. Definitely escalating. Were the cats blamed?
Initially, yeah, but the cats were asleep somewhere else at the time.
Right. And then Marie, the housemate, she heard something while she was sick.
Yeah, she was really ill in bed, and she heard these horrible, grief-stricken wails, like a woman crying, walking up and down the hallway. But whenever Marie managed to sit up in bed, the wailing would stop instantly.
Only to start again when she lay back down.
Exactly. Super creepy. And it got to a point where if someone expressed disbelief, they seemed to get targeted.
Targeted? How?
Well, this friend Taylor came over, heard the stories, and basically scoffed. Said she didn't believe any of it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Moments later, right in front of her, an upper kitchen cabinet door swings open by itself. Then, bam! Both kitchen doors slam shut super hard, shaking the house again. And that same stack of plates goes flying off the counter and smashes against the wall. Again.
Okay, that's pretty direct feedback for a skeptic.
That was the breaking point. They called in paranormal investigators after that.
Smart move. Did the investigators experience anything?
Oh, yeah. One of them, Debbie, was also skeptical. Right after saying she didn't believe, she felt something tug her hair. Hard.
So the phenomenon was interacting directly with the investigators too.
Seems like it. And later, Debbie was going through all those orb photos the narrator and Marie had taken.
The ones from the back deck.
Yeah. She found that a lot of the orbs weren't just light spots. They had clear faces inside them.
Faces in the orbs. That's specific.
Very specific. And one face kept appearing. A man with a really distinctive handlebar mustache. He showed up in photos taken at different times, different spots, even by different people.
A recurring face. That's more compelling than random anomalies.
And here's the connection. Years later, they found out that the previous owner of the house, the one who had actually died in that gloomy back bedroom,
Let me guess.
he was apparently well known on the reservation for his handlebar mustache.
Wow. Okay. That ties it all together in a really chilling way. The location, the history, the specific visual evidence, multiple witnesses, the interaction. It's quite a case.
Definitely underscores that idea of energy tied to a place, maybe disturbed by the living, especially those who doubt it.
That direct challenge often seems to provoke a response in these kinds of intense cases.
Let's shift gears slightly. From these really active, almost aggressive hauntings to something more personal, tied to a specific moment.
Okay.
This one's shorter, but no less eerie. A narrator recalls being terrified one night, around 10 p.m., hearing creaking sounds, then footsteps outside their bedroom door, and then soft breathing.
Right outside the door. Yeah, that's terrifying.
Absolutely frozen in fear. But about 30 minutes later, her mother comes downstairs to tell her that her grandmother had just passed away.
Oh, wow. The timing.
Exactly, that half-hour gap between the sounds and the news.
That really speaks to that idea of a crisis apparition, doesn't it? Or some
Yeah.
kind of psychic connection, a final visit or signal right around the time of death. It's a common theme, but always deeply unsettling and profound when you hear specific accounts like that.
It really is. Gives you chills. Okay, another one with a personal connection, but different. This is about a classmate, Jess, who passed away tragically. The narrator first noticed little things. Like, right after hearing Jess had died, her old TV in her bedroom started turning itself off. Repeatedly.
Odd, but maybe explainable.
Maybe. But then, at Jess's burial, it was snowing. The narrator kind of sarcastically muttered something like, "Thanks for the snow, Jess."
Man.
Instantly, this massive gust of wind just came out of nowhere, nearly knocked her and her friend over. Nothing else was moving like that.
Okay, that's harder to explain away. Feels more responsive.
Yeah. Then, on the narrator's birthday, a friend gets a memorial card in the mail from Jess's mother. But it's addressed to the narrator.
A card for the narrator. Why?
Because Jess always used to be the very first person to wish her happy birthday, like right at 12:01 a.m. The card was a reminder of that tradition.
Ah, okay. A poignant reminder.
But the biggest incident, the narrator is home alone. Her dog starts barking, like it always does when her husband gets home. She hears the front door slam shut.
So she thinks her husband's back.
Right. She calls out his name, no answer. She goes to the door. It's locked from the inside. And the keys are swinging in the lock.
But her husband wasn't there.
Nope. His car wasn't even in the driveway yet. She immediately felt it was Jess. A final sort of hello or goodbye.
That sequence of events. The dog, the dumber, the keys.
Yeah.
That's very specific.
And apparently after that, all the weird stuff stopped. Completely. Following a dream the narrator had where Jess told her, I'm okay, tell everyone I'm okay.
Wow. So this whole series of events felt less like a haunting and more like communication.
Yeah.
Reassurance, maybe.
Exactly. It's a different feel, right? Comforting in a strange way rather than purely frightening. Suggests a spirit maybe trying to ease grief, make a connection.
It's a good reminder that these encounters aren't always negative. Sometimes they seem rooted in love or connection.
Okay, for our final story, this one covers a lifetime. An individual who seems to have experienced paranormal phenomena pretty much constantly, starting in a brand new house they built.
A new house. So not old residual energy from previous occupants.
Interesting.
Right. Early on, small things. Finding tiny baby footprints in dust on the stairs. She even took a photo, but later it was just gone from her phone. Deleted.
Vanishing evidence. And what else?
Hearing her sister singing really loudly from her bedroom, which was locked, only to realize her sister had left for summer camp hours before.
Okay, phantom sounds. Mimicry, maybe?
Seems like it. Then it escalated to more typical stuff, doors slamming, lights going on and off, the front door being found wide open again, things falling or disappearing, footsteps.
The usual poltergeist type activity.
And then it got more physical and sinister. One night, her comforter was literally ripped off her bed while she was in it.
Ripped off. That's aggressive.
Yeah. Another time, she tried to pick up an empty paper plate off a table and couldn't. Like something invisible was holding it down with force.
Physical interaction again, resisting her movement.
And then, coming home one night, driving into the garage in the dark, she opens the car door and sees this black, shadowy, smoky figure doorway. Freaked her out so much she called the police, thinking it was an intruder.
A shadowy figure that links back to the story with Chris and his nephew.
It does. And even after they had a pastor come and bless the house, things didn't entirely stop.
The blessing didn't work. Or just reduced it.
Maybe reduced it. Her mom still felt someone maneuver around her in the kitchen when no one was there. Saw a weird, colorful thing in her bathroom mirror. Her grandmother claimed she saw a body fall from the upstairs balcony inside the house.
Whoa, okay, so still significant events happening even after the blessing.
And here's the main point of the story. It wasn't just the house. The phenomena followed the narrator.
Followed her? Where?
To college. In her dorm room, she and her roommates woke up at 3 a.m. to this really weird, dramatic music playing loudly.
Music. From where?
Her computer, which had been shut down, closed, and locked. It had somehow turned on, opened a web browser to a streaming service, and started playing a scary movie soundtrack.
Okay, that's elaborate. And
Yeah.
creepy. Tampering with electronics.
Yeah. Things also went missing from their dorm room, and she'd hear this constant clicking sound when her roommate wasn't there.
Clicking. Persistent, annoying sounds are common too.
And one really strange night, she woke up with this sudden, overwhelming urge. She knew a picture hanging on the wall was about to fall.
Like a premonition.
Exactly. She felt she had to get to the wall right then. She ran over, put her hands out underneath the picture, and the second she did, it fell right off the hook into her hands.
Whoa. Okay, that's uncanny. Like she was warned or prompted.
It seems like it, and the entity, or whatever it is, followed her again to a house where she was working as a nanny.
It attached itself to her, not the place.
Looks that way. At the nanny job, she heard a deep growl, then a deep male laugh, and then like a crowd of disembodied voices, all when she was alone with the child.
That must have been terrifying, especially with a kid there.
She grabbed the child and called the police, again. Later, in her own new apartment, her computer just fell off her desk. No reason, no vibration, just crash. And her current roommate says she gets chills whenever she goes into the narrator's room.
So it's still ongoing.
Seems so. Most recently, visiting her parents again, she was resting. The sliding door to the deck slowly creaked open on its own. Then she heard a woman whisper right near her, "Is she asleep yet?"
She was alone. Or thought she was.
She thought her mom might be home, but then realized her mom was out of town and everyone else in the house was asleep.
Just cow. Constant activity following her everywhere. How does she feel about it now?
She says she's not scared, surprisingly, not really threatened by it, but she desperately wants theories, answers, What could it be?
Well, that's the core question, isn't it? When it follows a person like this, it strongly suggests it's not tied to a location. It points towards an attachment to the individual.
Like she's a magnet for it, or maybe generated it somehow.
Could be either, or something else entirely. Maybe your energy field is somehow perceptible or attractive to whatever this is. Or perhaps an initial event created a link that's just never been broken. The fact she isn't scared is really interesting too. It suggests a long-term, almost familiar relationship with the phenomena, even if it's unsettling.
It really challenges that whole idea of a haunted house. Sometimes maybe it's the person.
Exactly. It opens up questions about personal energy, attachments, consciousness itself.
These stories, just incredible. They really run the gamut, don't they? From what seems like echoes of the past in old buildings.
Yeah, residual energy may be triggered by something simple like a name.
To these really intelligent, sometimes aggressive entities that can physically interact, move objects, even cause harm.
The poltergeist activity, the direct physical contact like the cuts.
Yeah.
That's undeniable interaction.
And then the spirits that seem connected through emotion, grief, love, maybe just wanting to say goodbye or that they're okay.
Like Jess or the grandmother's visit. A very different kind of encounter.
And finally, this idea of something attaching itself to a person, following them through life.
Which forces us to consider that the source isn't always the place, but maybe something about the individual.
We've heard about the fear, the confusion, the search for answers. Those moments where logic just fails you.
Yeah, when the inexplicable just happens, and you're left trying to make sense of a reality that suddenly seems bigger or stranger than you thought.
It really leaves you thinking, doesn't it? In a world where we try to know everything, explain everything, how do we deal with these moments that just defy explanation?
What does it all mean for how we understand consciousness, energy? That line between what we see and what might actually be there, it definitely makes you wonder.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive into the unexplained. We hope these accounts gave you something to think about, maybe even sent a shiver down your spine.
These stories certainly stick with you. A reminder that there might be more to our world than we fully grasp.
If you enjoyed this exploration into the unknown, please do us a favor, like this video, share it with anyone else who loves spooky stories or unsolved mysteries, and make sure you subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs, for more deep dives into the dark and unexplained.
Thanks for joining us. Until next time.